guys, it's your girl Okwe, and welcome to the All Shows Nigerian channel, where I review Nollywood movies, series, and reality TV shows. Today I will be reviewing one of the latest Nigerian Amazon movies titled Gangs of Lagos, starring popular actors and actresses Adesua Itomi, Chioma Akpota, Toyin Abraham, Iyabo Ojo, Mr. Macaroni, Bimbo Ademoye, and Toby Bakare, as well as popular Nigerian artists Chike and Wasiu Alabi Pasuma. So the way this review is going to work is I will take my time to summarize the story for people who may not have had a chance to watch the movie, and then I'll give my take and overall ratings at the of the entire movie at the end. So with that being said, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this review. So the movie starts off with the main character named Oba giving a brief explanation of the Ayo, sorry, which is a Nigerian Yoruba word for masquerades, and how they are celestial beings for escorting dead Lagos kings into the world of the dead and ushering in new ones as well. The narrator also explains that Ayo masquerades were the first gangs of Lagos and were held highly in the community, or are still held highly in the community. Comment down below if you have ever seen any kind of masquerade in person before from different cultures, and what was the setting, occasion, or experience like in general. Anyways, after the prologue, we see a Nigerian woman with her daughter driving on the ever busy roads of Isaleiko. A young boy approaches her to try and steal her bag, and initially she scolds him, but soon realizes that there's two of them and one of them had a knife held to her daughter's neck. Seeing this, the woman panics and proceeds to give her handbag and expensive rings, which makes the boys retreat and leave without causing any more harm. The next scene, we see more ongoing crime acts by the street dogs, such as stealing shipment storage containers from harbors, collecting unauthorized taxes from market sellers and vendors on the streets, and running underground illegal betting games. That part was actually really funny, as we see grown people betting over two goats fighting each other, or rams. And this is something I've never really seen or heard before, so comment down below what you think or thought about this scene. Anyways, we see the two young rascals that stole from the lady earlier meet up with a mutual friend of theirs to look through the gains in the woman's bag and share them among each other. Inside the bag, we find some bundles of naira notes and a Nigerian passport. One of the boys, whose name we soon find out to be Ify, feels like they shouldn't throw the woman's passport away as she may still need it. But the other kids are not in support of this decision, so they argue it out. They eventually settle it out and go about their day together as a trio. In the next scene, we see people in the area once again paying illegal taxes to the Elenio of the area, which is also another Yoruba term for main boss or bosses of all bosses. In Isaleiko, the reigning Elenio is a man called Alaye Bambam. We are soon to find out that he was the most popular Lagos gangster at the time and also a well-known politician in the area. In the next scene, Alaye Bambam is seen discussing his plans to rig the upcoming Lagos state primary elections with the two of his favorite goons, whom he considers like sons. At this point, he tells one of them, who we find out goes by the name Kazim, to step out of the room as he wanted to discuss more privately with the other one, whose name we also find out to be Nino. Kazim is obviously in his feelings a bit, but leaves the setting regardless. Nino discusses with Bam Bam that he is tired of the street life and wants to invest his attained wealth and gains into starting a legitimate business. Alaye Bam Bam finds the idea silly and laughable and tries to talk Nino out of his mindset and tells him to focus on getting involved in politics instead, as it was the only way to fully survive in Lagos as a Lagos street boy, born and raised in the slum of the city. They end their conversation abruptly as they are told that there is a visitor with a dilemma waiting for counsel and help from the Elenio. We find out that the visitor is the lady who was robbed earlier by the two boys, and she explains the situation to Alaye Bambam. He advises her to stay calm and signals to one of his men to bring in the second boy, whose name we find out to be Obalola. Because of the boy's last name, Bambam realizes that the boy's father was an old acquaintance of his prior to his death, and develops a liking to Oba. He then instructs Oba to return the bag and reminds him that they should not steal from their kind, which I'm guessing is like the rule of don't steal from your tribe members and stuff like that. So Yoruba people in this case are not supposed to steal from Yoruba people. But anyways, Oba informs them that the lady had already involved the police, which of course was another unspoken code in the streets, which was that you should always come to Elenion for your matters and never include the police. The lady tries to explain that she did so because she was desperate for a quick solution, and her passport had been part of the things that were stolen. Her explanation doesn't faze Bam Bam, and hence, he lets Oba keep the stolen items as punishment for her breaking the laws. Oba is seen going home, and along the way, he sees his longtime crush, whose name is Tenny, and we also find out that she is Kazim's daughter. Kazim is not supportive of this budding relationship between his daughter and Oba, and abruptly takes her with him back home. After, we see Nino approach Oba, and it seems like he is very much like a father figure and role model to Oba. They both converse more about the details of Oba's theft, and Nino is able to get through to Oba and convince him to return the woman's belongings privately. After the return, Nino tells Oba that he can always come to him anytime he ever needs anything. He attempts to give Oba some money, but is abruptly stopped by Oba's mother, who by her dressing we can tell is a member of the Celestial Church of Christ. Clearly, his mother is not accepting of her son's involvement in the streets of Lagos, as it was part of the reasons for his father's demise. She wants Nino to stay away from her son and drags Oba with her to the church Aladura. We then get a brief backstory of how Oba was born and that there was a prophecy about him made by the Aladura that he was not just going to be a street in the streets like his father, but he would even become a street king and also foresee the same fate of early death just like his father. After hearing this, his father took him to the church Alagbara for protection and cleansing rituals, which involved them flogging him in an effort to change the prophecy. Of course, this proved futile as soon after Oba's father was killed, therefore putting the prophecy in full motion. Anyways, his mom takes him again to Alagbara for more cleansing and protection and tries to convince him that she was doing this extreme action solely for him and for his safety and well-being. After the cleansing acts, Oba runs away from home and goes to Nino's house. He tells Nino everything, and Nino sees the markings on the boy's back and is overwhelmed with sympathy and takes him in as his son from then on. The next day, Oba's mom angrily comes to Nino's home looking for him. Oba chooses not to live with her, and his mother is visibly hurt by this, to the extent that she curses him by saying that the path which he has chosen would lead to his death. After this, she leaves and he never sees his mother again. Can I just say that this was a really heartbreaking scene to watch? Because, like, I get that his mother was trying to protect him and put him on the right path the way she knew best. But I think her methods were the problem, because rather than help the situation, it kind of did the opposite and pushed her son away. To me, it seems like it also played a part to why he did eventually follow the path of his father's footsteps. I mean, I'm sure his mindset was that the streets were clearly treating him better than his mom, right? What do you guys think about this situation? If his mother wasn't so extreme with her methods, do you think that he would have succumbed to the street life and gone the path he went? I'd love to hear your thoughts. So, anyways, Oba starts living with Nino, and this exposes him to a world in the streets that he has never known, or he had never known. He accompanies Nino on his quote unquote jobs for popular politicians and influential men in the city. On one of these instances, Oba soon accidentally finds out that these jobs involved Nino, Kazem, and another of their accomplices named Ekun torturing people working against these influential men in Lagos. Kazim wants Oba involved in their social vices, but Nino is against it. In the next scene, we find out that Alayi Bambam is declining in health, and there are rumors and speculations that Nino will be the next Elenio, because he was very accessible to the people and eager to tend to their needs any way he could. This makes me wonder what his childhood, and I'm talking about Nino now, and upbringing was like that made him become involved in the streets. Because from what I saw, he clearly had a lot of potential to be able to live and survive in Lagos in a more honest and legit way. Comment down below on your thoughts about the character Nino. Anyways, the gang activities continue in the area, and it seems like apart from Nino and Kazim's gang unit, there's another notorious gang in the area led by a man called London. There seems to be a lot of bad blood between these two gangs as they try to stay out of each other's way and not get so involved with one another. So far, life seems to be going great for Oba. Nino pulls him from his old school into a better one, which coincidentally is the same school as his crush Tenny. They talk about their dreams and aspirations for the future, and are soon interrupted as Ify and Gift join them and tease each other. In the next scene, things are going pretty peaceful in the city of Isalaeko, and that is until Nino is found dead in one of the streets, and it's clearly a huge shock and loss for the people in the community. I can't lie, that was a really emotional scene because I never thought, or it never crossed my mind that Nino was going to die. I thought he was going to be a main character for some reason until the very end. So that was definitely an unexpected plot twist, and I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. This sudden turn of events caused utter chaos as Nino's gang wreaked havoc on the other gangs in the area to avenge Nino's death. In the end, 100 people were killed on the day Nino was found dead. Alright, so after this scene, we are fast forwarded to 15 years after Nino's passing. Oba and his friends are all grown up and are seen paying their respects at Nino's grave. We soon find out that Nino's passing caused a lot of change in Isalaeko. Nino and his friends had dropped out of Oba and his friends had dropped out of school, and we were now fully active in the streets. And on the news, we see a newscaster talking to one of the candidates of the upcoming Lagos State governorship elections, who went by the name Bamidele Olarinwaju. She is a candidate that is ready to tackle and take down the hold that her opposing candidate named Olorogun and his thugs have in the city. We also learned that Kazim has been elected Elenio, and his reign is extremely brutal now with the upcoming elections approaching. Kazim's daughter Tenny has also been abroad for over 10 years now and decides to come back to Lagos, back to Nigeria to spend some time with her family. Because of how hot the streets were at the time, Kazim assigns Oba as her personal bodyguard. We also learned that after Nino's death, Ekun joined London's gang. This actually took me by surprise because if there was one person that I thought was going to betray Nino, it would have been Kazim. And I'm only saying this based off how their relationship with each other seemed like in the beginning. We also find out that Ify, who is one of Oba's childhood friends, has a child with a young woman. Initially, he is being a deadbeat dad and was not taking care of his child and baby mama. We also learned that his baby mama is homeless and has been sleeping under a bridge for the past few days after being kicked out of her apartment by her landlord. Gift and Oba talk some sense into Ify, and he finally takes his baby and its mother to meet his mother. His mom is ecstatic about being a grandmother, and she is receptive of her and her grandchild. She's receptive of the baby mama and her grandchild and offers for them to live with her. I didn't really understand why it took Ify's friends to talk some sense into him before he claimed his son. His mother was very excited on the news from what we see of having a grandchild and even took the baby and the mother to live with her. I know he mentioned that he had cold feet initially because he was scared of the responsibilities that came with having a child, but it just made no sense in comparison to how open and accommodating his mother ended up being about the whole situation. And if he was afraid of what came with having grown up situations like childcare and what came with it, he shouldn't have been engaging in grown up activities like unprotected sex. But anyways, please comment down below your thoughts on this situation. In the next scene, we see that Tenny finally arrives Lagos from America. We learn that she has been overseas for the past 10 years. Oba is flustered and happy to see Tenny after so long. Him, Tenny, Gift, and Ify catch up on life in general and soon take her to her safe house prepared by her father for her on the island. On getting to her huge apartment, Oba's wounds open again as he sees the lifestyle that he could have been enjoying if Nino was still alive. He realizes Kazim is clearly only looking out for himself and his own, and this kind of rubs him the wrong way. I feel like sadly this is the harsh reality of how the Nigerian game of politics and government is played. And I'm glad that this movie touches on this type of real life issues and situations and brings more awareness to it overall. Comment down below what you guys think about this. So in the next scene, we see Kazim and Ify ambush London at a barber shop. London tries to tell Kazim that his loyalties are misplaced and that Olorogun will eventually betray him. Of course, this falls on deaf ears as Kazim isn't hearing any of it. Things get heated and shots are fired on both sides. London misses his shot while Kazim's lands fatally on London's chest. Him and his goons and Ify quickly flee the scene as London's gangmates finally arrive to the commotion. Upon getting to Kazim's house, he asks Ify to kill the owner of the barber shop so that word does not get out quick to the media or disrupt the upcoming elections. He promises to sponsor Ify's music career by setting up a meeting later that night with him and a top-notch Nigerian producer only if he gets through with the assignment. Ify is terrified by this task assigned to him but tells his boss that he will execute it. He leaves and goes searching for Oba for advice. In the next scene, Oba and Tenny are having a romantic moment at her apartment rooftop. Oba is then interrupted by a call from Ify about his current predicament, and Oba tells him to stay calm and they agree to meet up to plan on how to handle the situation. Oba is delaying to get to the meetup spot and as he is still doing bodyguard duties for Tenny for the night. He gets agitated as he is running late for his meeting with Ify and takes it out on Tenny. In the heat of the moment, he reveals to her how her father treats him and their friends, while she is living it up like an oblivious, naive, and privileged little princess. Quite frankly, I agree with him because she seems so unaware of how things clearly operate, and that life isn't as rosy and daisy as she was made to think or believe. Anyway, during the course of this heated conversation, Oba is distracted for a minute while driving and soon collides with an incoming vehicle. Because of this, Ify does not hear from Oba again and decides to take matters into his own hands and do as Kazim instructed. Of course, on getting to the barber's apartment, Ify doesn't have the mind to kill anyone, so he suggests to the barber to flee Lagos. As Ify flees the scene, we see another strange guy walk into the same apartment and shoot the barber. Oba and Tenny finally awake from their car accident, and two men approach Tenny attempting to kidnap her, but unknown to them she had a gun and pulls it out in self-defense. Oba also pulls out a gun and seeing that their targets were armed, they retreat and quickly flee the scene. Oba and Tenny finally leave as well back to her apartment where they clean up each other. Oba forgets all about his meetup with Ify and ends up spending the night with Tenny. In the next scene, Ify is seen walking home, but is soon ambushed by two men and they kill him abruptly. It was actually very sad to watch because I feel like Ify didn't deserve to die like that. But comment down below what you thought about this part of the movie or think about this part of the movie. So in the next scene, Gift finally figures out that there is something wrong, as Ify isn't picking his calls anymore and misses his music debut meeting set up by Kazim. They soon find out the bad news and also finally get a hold of Oba and break the news to him. They are all distraught over Ify's death and break the news to his mother, who is completely heartbroken. Okay, so for context, the mother is played by popular Nigerian veteran actress Chioma Chukwuka. And one thing about Chioma Chukwuka is that she will cry a cry and move you with her passionate acting skills. Great acting, honestly. Her morning scene was it was very, very touching and nearly brought me to tears. Tell me what you guys think or thought about this scene for those who watched it. So after the burial ceremony of Ify, there's another war among the gangs, and Oba and his friends are convinced that London's gang was responsible for killing Ify. Oba and his gang members go to fish out Echo and Cash. We see them all fight for vengeance and blood, ready to fully and willingly die for the cause. Oba is eventually outnumbered and soon knocked out of consciousness and tied up. After some time, he finally wakes up and him, Echo, and Cash exchange words. Echo makes it clear that him and his gang had no involvement in Ify's death. He also informs us, the viewers, that there was a meeting held after London's death between him, Kazim, and Olorogun. Apparently, the barber had already told Echo's gang what had happened or transpired in his shop that day. He further tells Oba that Kazim lied that it was Ify who killed London, which Echo debunked quickly at the time as a lie, knowing that Kazim wanted Ify to take the fall for his actions. From this information, it soon dawns on Oba that Kazim was the one who ordered for Ifi's death. Ekun also assures Oba that him and his men stand with him if he decides to take on Kazim once and for all. My god, that was quite the revelation when watching it because Loki, this didn't come as a surprise to me because Kazim already looked sketchy from the very beginning. But comment down below your thoughts. Anyways, Oba and Gift are hurt by this new information and vow to kill Kazim. They track down the guy hired to kill Ifi and make him take them to where Kazim stores all his container shipments on the island so they could steal it. During the course of stealing them, the killer reveals another shocking piece of information, which was that Kazim and Olorogun were the ones who also were behind the death of Oba's biological father. Once again, this takes Oba aback and fuels his anger and thirst for vengeance. On the day intended for Operation Kill Kazim, Oba makes a call to his mother to say his last goodbyes in case he dies. She is hostile to him and tells him she has no son by his name and cuts the call abruptly. Oba is sad by this but chains up and prepares for his personal mission ahead. Oba and Gift finally team up with Ekun's gang and the other gangs in Lagos, ranging from Isale-Eko, Oshodi, Mile 12, Ikorodu, Mushi and Fadeyi, to form an alliance and fight for a new and better generation of Lagos leadership, even if it meant that it would cost them their lives. It was finally the day of London's burial ceremony, and it was a huge event. We see Eyo masquerades initially come into the hall dancing, but soon make their guns visible and start shooting. It quickly becomes a bloodbath in the hall, and we see people fleeing for their lives. Kazim tries to flee, but is soon outrun by Oba. They decide to settle their score once and for all and fight man to man with no witnesses or weapons. They both exchange words and a physical fight breaks out. Oba finds out again that Kazim killed Nino as well. But I mean, that was so obvious and we already saw that one coming with the amount of people he had already killed. But in the end, Oba is cornered and rendered helpless by Kazim and he's about to give his fatal shot to Oba, but thankfully, Gift comes literally in the nick of time and gave the final shot to Kazim, which ultimately killed him instantly. Hooray! After Kazim's death, the gang lays low for some time and things die down in the area. Oba is named Eleni soon after and teams up with the female aspiring governorship candidate, Bamidele, to take down Olorogun and restructure Lagos for better governance. Whew, that was a long-ass review. I'm trying to make it as detailed as I can for my audience who may not have the chance to watch the full movie. So please bear with me, guys. Alright, so here are my thoughts. The movie did start off with a bang. Its concept was definitely passed across in a captivating way and it highlighted Lagos and embodied its gang life very accurately. I feel like along the way things slowed down a bit and got a bit boring but soon picked up and the drama and action from there on was like it was really good. It was good. It was really nice. The level of action scenes and fights in the movie was also very impressive. Initially I wasn't so sure what to expect, but I was pleasantly surprised. The fights and graphic edits flowed naturally, and all I can say is we have come a really long way in Nollywood, and I'm really excited for what is to come in the industry in the future. Also, I've been reading on some other reviews made by some bloggers, and I know that some people questioned why Ify wasn't really speaking Yoruba, also, since he was born and bred in Isalaiko. Honestly, I like the fact that he didn't because it showcased a lot of diversity, which is really true and what the reality is in these parts of Lagos. I remember when I used to follow my mom to the Lagos markets and all that, and there were a lot of Igbos and Hausa people like Onitsha boys and everything that sold their goods and had been in that area for a very, very long time, like very long time, but still spoke their mother tongue and their languages and all that from different parts of Nigeria. So I feel like just because Lagos is a predominantly Yoruba state doesn't mean that there aren't other cultures that operate even in the core of their street system and gang system or whatever. So yeah, I totally was here for the diverse roles. Also, is it just me or did the Oba character feel totally overrated to you guys as well? I feel like they were really trying to make that character live up to this street smart and unique individual that was supposed to take the streets by surprise and give them a bang. Like for instance, the scene where if he needed him, that would have been a great avenue for him to showcase these parts of him that we're supposed to see, but he clearly didn't. And I feel like his character could have been developed a bit more to show off his mischievous side and intelligent side that we thought he was going to have. Even his ending fight with Kazim wasn't all that impressive. As a matter of fact, Kazim was really winning, and I didn't really see any scene that he showed a good amount of street smartness. Like, for God's sake, his best friend literally died because of his vulnerability and lack of awareness. So I don't really know if he was really that much of a strong character, like this street smart character. But comment down below your thoughts. And another thing, please, what's with this Tenny chick? Like, was she delusional or something? Because there was a scene where she was like she didn't choose this type of life and kind of insinuated that the abroad life didn't mean anything to her and she missed the streets. And I was like, huh? I was like, what planet is she from? So she would rather have preferred to be roaming the streets like a thug and killing people for her father instead than living a much better and comfortable life away from the Nigerian economy. Oh, girl, bye. Lastly, I also felt like the roles of Tenny and Gift should have been swapped for both actresses. So, for context, Tenny's character was played by Bimbo Ademoye, while the role of Gift was played by Adesua. I feel like Bimbo wasn't really given what she was supposed to give as a rich abroad girl, but I know for a fact that she would have finished ground with the Raz role of Gift. On the other hand, I actually enjoyed Adesua playing Gift and acting Raz. She really embodied her part, and I'm sure she would have done an amazing job as Tenny as well. Overall, I'll be rating this movie a 7.5 out of 10. I really, really, really enjoyed the movie. I won't even lie, and I definitely feel like it was worth the hype. Comment down below what you guys thought about this movie review and the movie overall. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notifications so that you get notified every single time I post a video. So take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.